All right, neighbors, first thing that we're going to do is review last week's module. Okay, we were working with the staggered 16th notes up the arpeggio. Some folks were wanting to have a video that could be shown exactly what you're supposed to do, and I've already done that. So now it's time for you to incorporate these things, these little modules that I've shown you, into the rhythm of these different tunes the best you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a chance to play the lead over the rhythm here. So we're going with on and on right now. We're just going to come out of the chorus. Here we go. And I wonder if she ever thinks of me. Here we go. Go. Here's C. Back to G. G again. Here's D. Back to G. C. Back to G. Split bar G, G, D, D, back to G. And then it all repeats here again. Now we're going to do 9-pound hammer and A. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? So here you go. 1, 2, ready, go. Heavy, buddy for my size. Down to E and back to A. Starting halfway through A. Up to the 4-chord D. Here's your split bar A and E. A. Split bar to the E and back to the A. Halfway through, roll on, buddy. Don't you roll so D, slow. Back to the A, split bar to the E, back to the A. One more time. 9-pound hammer, just a little too heavy. Buddy for my size, buddy for my size. Now roll on, buddy. Don't you roll so slow. Okay, now we're going to come up to B, and we're going to play Blue Ridge Cabin Home. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. There's E up to F sharp, then the Blue Ridge Hills back to B. Stays in B. When I die, won't you bury me on E chord? Up to the F sharp chord and my Blue Ridge back to B. Here we go again. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge Hills I do roam. And when I die, won't you Okay. Now, I just want to demonstrate really quickly one way, or a few different ways, that you can approach the technology that you've already started to integrate. All right, here we go. 1, 2, staggered, and go. And. Okay, here's another way you can do it. You can come down from the 10th fret of the E. This is through the infinity shape. Okay, so here's that count off. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Let's look at that one really quick. This is an ending lick starting on the 4th fret of the G, coming up through the infinity shape, staggered, down to the open D on the last connecting 16th note upstroke before the D chord, staggered in the D, arpeggio, up to the G note. That takes you down through 2nd position, which is also anchored by the arpeggio notes in the infinity shape. All right, so once again, that's coming down. We didn't talk about this one much. You can come up off the open D, and this is still the infinity shape. It's just a different starting place, okay? So you can come up off of the 7th fret of the G out of your chop chord and switch over to your middle finger, or you can start that with your middle finger, or you can come up off the open D. Just make sure you hit your middle finger on the 7th fret of the D. And you can come back down through the infinity shape in G, up through the C arpeggio. Half the bar is C and then goes back to G. It's a split bar. And then your ending lick. Or. Okay, so let's go up to A. Look at a little bit of the 9-pound hammer. Okay, so here we go. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? So I'm taking a lick that's spaced out of the chord, arpeggiated. I'm taking it to the 5 chord, and then ending back on the 1. All right, the 1 is right underneath it. Here's the 5 chord. Your 2 fingers are going to anchor that. You can bring those up to the G and the D string, and that's going to be a good landing place instead of going back to the high register. Instead of going... that doesn't really work ergonomically. Okay, so let's try that again. 2, ready, go. High. Low. High. So you just jump into the chord, because the thing that's programmed into our minds is the chord shape. And so if we're always thinking, I can always come up through the bottom of the chord shape in a staggered way, or a little shuffle rhythm, and then come into my 1 chord, back to the A, right underneath it, really easy. So you can think about playing rhythm and then trying to interject some of these lead devices into the structure of your rhythm playing with regard to the shape of it. So if you're used to having this shape, and you can just do a little toggle between your middle two strings there, or if you're just doing your 3-finger chop chord, your ring finger note is going to pull over to the string underneath it. This is what some people they can't do a whole lot. They'll just do this kind of stuff and it'll sound okay. Okay, so one thing that advanced players can do is start to add the 7th in. Okay, so you're just adding the 7th in. Instead of just the regular arpeggio, you're adding the 7th in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and then the 1 again. So if you're playing that out of your chord, it's anchored with your ring finger on the 7th fret of the D. And then your 7th note is going to be that 3rd fret of the E. So just with that one more note, you can really start to get a lot more color and expression. So that's just adding one more note to what we're doing. Of course, we're running the 16th notes through the arpeggios instead of staggering them. All right, so let's look at that with the 7th in there just a little bit. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? Now, how am I getting that? Okay, so remember how we get in our 2-octave arpeggio, we have to do the first 3 notes and then shift up into the 3-finger arpeggio position, also known as the chord. Okay, so if we're doing a staggered thing, we're getting those first 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, and then we're just adding the ring finger right here with an upstroke and a downstroke, then sliding that up into your chord position, okay, with an upstroke and a downstroke, upstroke on the 4th fret, downstroke, up, down on the 7th fret, and up, down on the 5th fret. So you can skip it there when you come to D. You can hit the 7th on the way up or not. If you want to not, then you can hit it up here where it turns into the 8th fret of the E, or already is waiting for the 10th fret, which is the top. Okay. So I'm not showing you the exact way to do this. I'm showing you how to do it so you can do it your way. Find a fingering that works for you, but these are the ideas. These are the advanced concepts, okay? So we can also come down. So that was with the 7th. That's all out of the E chord shape. Okay, are we getting that idea? That's how to do it without moving up. If you want to have more mobility, you can do that with your middle finger and cruise up here and have a little bit more. That's really advanced stuff. There's also this shape that comes through it, which is the 7s. Out of E. I'm just showing you stuff that you can do to apply this technology. All right, that's just our infinity shape coming up from the 3rd. If you want to come up off the open G, you can do that, and no one will really hear it because it goes by so fast. What did I just do there? I came up through the infinity shape in A. I started on the G and ended up hooking the D. Sometimes you have to do weird stuff with your fingers to reroute them. If you want to come down this way, it's easy. If you want to come down the other way, it's not as easy. It's doable. See how you can jump out of each chord? It's good to know those transition points. Through the 7th, pulling down with your first finger. That's the 7th coming in there. What was that coming down through the 7th and E? And then back into the A arpeggio on the downbeat. Okay, that's getting pretty advanced. Now let's slow it down just a little bit as we go to B. Because when we want to look at the also, before we go to E, let's look at the infinity shape coming up from the first fret of the G. Okay, so you can use this for if you want to do, well, this is not a split bar, and so you can do that much of it for the split bar part of 9-Pound Hammer. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? You can do your regular staggered arpeggio, and then come from the first fret. This is a little bit of the, it's 4 notes of the infinity shape. Okay, so the whole 1-5-1 turnaround is how can I roll when the wheels won't go? How can I roll when the wheels won't go? How can I roll when the wheels won't go? And you can grab it from the next arpeggio note up if you want to. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? You can come up from the 4th fret or the 2nd fret. Anywhere you grab that shape. It's going to be good. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? That's an E. Coming down the E arpeggio with the 7th. Just abbreviating it. Okay, let's get up in here to B. Okay, so let's check our low arpeggio out. All right, 5-chord arpeggio. This is the infinity shape starting on the 3rd fret of the G, up to the 6th fret, upstroke, up to the 4th fret on the D string, upstroke, then a downstroke. It continues that way, upstroke, then a downstroke on the 8th fret, up then down on the 4th fret of the A, up then down on the 9th fret of the A, up then down on the 6th fret of the E, and then your little finger is going to be the last part of this infinity shape, which is F sharp, and that's going to be on the 9th fret. That's your big 5-chord shape for Blue Ridge Cabin Home. And then you're back into the 1 chord. Okay, so you can do 2 infinity shapes in a row if you want. You can season to taste. Okay, so let's go through that slowly one time. 1, 2, ready, and arpeggio. In B, infinity shape in E, infinity shape F sharp, and back infinity shape and E. All right, well, I ran out of space on that last video, so we're going to jump real quick into the bounce licks. Okay, so the bounce licks in G are going to be like this. That's bouncing down to the 4 chord, which is C from G. Okay, so what's going on here? There are 2 16th note pickup notes, down then up on the 5th fret of the A, and then the downbeat is the following downstroke on the 5th fret of the A, which is going to be bouncing off the open A. And then you're just going down the scale, bouncing the whole way off the open string that's underneath it. And then you can get this little finger on the 7th fret, which is really the key of the whole thing. And then you're just going to keep walking down through the 3rd fret, 7th fret of the G now, into the 5th fret of the G note, which is a C note. 5th fret of the G string, which is the bottom of the C chord. And you just do a little boom, 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 which is like a little arpeggiated stagger lick. Okay, so here's what we got. With the pickup notes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we can do this lick from the 5 to the 1, and this will be a D to back to G. Okay, so we just went from the D back to the G. You can walk up to it if you want. So we're coming out of the C. So here's how to kind of apply this bounce lick in, on, and on with the rest of the technology that we've already been absorbing. Okay, so we're starting with the bounce lick. 1, 2, ready, go. Also get them up here for great effect. So here's how we can stick the bounce licks into 9-pound hammer. So here we go from the beginning. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? I'm on a mountain just to see my baby. Ain't come back. No, I ain't coming back. Now roll on, buddy. Don't you roll so slow. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? You know what's going on? They're just playing around with it. Little scalar thing. Then right up the arpeggio. You can bounce off the arpeggio. You know. It's not as conventional to do that, but you can play around with it. You know, check that out. Bouncing off those strings. You can't hardly miss, you know, any way you do it. If you just keep your 16th, that's going with your right hand. Okay, a little bit more practical. Way up high. bouncing off the arpeggio notes. It's not staggered. It's, instead of you're bouncing off the open. It feels great. And if you can start doing little hammer-ons and pull-offs and feeling into reading the chords, that's where all that opens up. With the 7th, not too advanced, but just enough. Okay, now let's get back to something a little bit more practically applicable to more of the folks who are just new to improvising. Okay, so let's look at the slidey lick. What are we doing here? Sliding down 5, 4, 3 with your ring finger, playing down, up, down, hitting the upstroke with your first finger. As you're playing the upstroke, you're going to slide into the 2nd fret, up, down, and then you're going to come with an upstroke to the 5th fret of the D, up, down, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, 5, 5, D, 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 D. And then without skipping any notes in the 16th note sequence, you're going to hit the upstroke on the 1st fret of the A, sliding into the 2nd fret, downstroke, upstroke on the 5th fret of the A, down to the 3rd fret, then an upstroke, then a downstroke on the 1st fret, then 2nd fret, up, down, and then finishing it off with up, down on the 5th fret of the D. La da 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 That's our lick. Take it upstairs for your C chord. Take it downstairs for your 5 chord. And then back to your 1. So to route it into on and on. Think that I am to blame. Here we go. Okay, did you see what I did there? I played the half bar in C, then I played the back half of it in G. If you're going to play the back half in C, it would sound like this. And you'd be ending up in C, but you need to get back to that G chord. So that's half a module. The whole module is this. In G. So if you play that whole thing in C, but you're going to need to split that bar. Play the 2nd half in G, and then go back into the whole module in G, and then play your next piece in D, or you could come out of the chord here. All right, so this is what we got so far. 2, 3, 4. Hack through the very ending to figure out how you want to do it yourself, but that's a split bar there. Something like that would be nice. Okay, so up to A for 9-pound hammer. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? Here we go, sliding. Piece of cake, Oh, the 9-pound hammer is a little too heavy, buddy, for my size, buddy, for my size. Now roll on, buddy, don't you roll so an octave higher, so slow. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? So now you got a bunch of really good stuff you can be working with. Your staggers, slide. Staggered, slide, bounce, staggered high, slide and D, to B for Blue Ridge Cabin Home. Okay, so we're looking at the slides. You can do them low. Not really the exact same way because it's to come up off the open D. But it's there. Into the infinity shape there for your low E. Let's look at it high though. Okay, that's one way to do it. This is modular. You can play with this like when you really get fluid with it to go into the other modules. You know, coming off the big singing note. Lost in this stuff. It's great. But you can switch back between some of this stuff and the melody. Okay, so we will see you on Friday. Bye.